Hey everyone, so I said I was going to make a video on how to make sure you reach your New Year's resolutions or your goals this year. And a lot of people go into the new year and they have a lot of good intentions. They want to make their goals, they want to reach certain aspects of their lives, but later on as the year goes on, they just seem to fail, or they just seem to just not achieve what they set out to do. And one of the biggest reasons is they're not making their goals properly. And sometimes people, they get so tired of making New Year's resolutions or goals for themselves, they just stop doing that. And I don't even think that that's really a good idea either, because I think it's a great idea to always strive to be a better person and to always make goals for yourself. So one of the easiest ways to make sure that you reach your New Year's resolution is to make sure that you're making SMART goals. Now what that is it's an acronym, S.M.A.R.T. The S stands for specific. Your goal has to be a specific goal. You can't just say, I want to get fit, or I want to do this or that. Maybe it's, I want to be able to run a 5K. Now that is a very, very specific goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. That's a specific goal. And that's one of the steps, because how can you measure, I want to be able to get fit? How can you really measure if you're fit or not unless you're doing certain steps, unless you're being more specific with your goal? Now the second thing that a lot of people make a mistake about is the M. You have to make sure that your goal is a measurable goal. So, for example, some people make the goal that they want to be a good husband, they want to be a good wife, a good friend. And although that's a good goal, it's not very measurable. How the heck are you going to measure if you're a good husband or a good wife? Maybe a better way to word that goal, or to make that goal, is to be, I want to be a better wife or husband. The way I'm going to do it is that each night I am going to write down 3 things that I'm grateful for my husband or wife about. Now that goal is more measurable because you're doing certain steps in order to measure it. Or maybe you're going to take your wife or your husband out on a date once a month or something like that. That's a more measurable goal. Not saying that that makes you a good husband or a good wife, whether or not you take your husband and wife on date, but it's just something that you're consciously doing to try to achieve that goal. So the third letter, A, is make sure that your goal is actually attainable. And this is different for a lot of people, but so some people make crazy goals, and not saying they're not obtainable. Like, for example, the Wright brothers wanted to fly, and people back then thought that wasn't attainable. But don't make these crazy goals that you can't obtain. Like, say, just, it's different for every person, so don't make a goal that's unattainable. Or make sure you're making small goals for that big goal that seems non-attainable, so that you can see the little steps in the process that you have been successful in order to reach that big goal. Otherwise, you're just going to give up. So that's A. The R is realistic. Make sure your goals are realistic. So if your goal is to lose weight, and you're saying you want to lose 100 pounds in 2 months, well, that's not realistic. You have to study how goals are, and maybe you should only lose up to 10 pounds a month. So maybe it's more 100 pounds in a year, or maybe even 2 years. So you have to make realistic goals, otherwise you're just going to get discouraged and you're going to give up. The last thing, letter in SMART, is T. You want to make sure that your goals always involve a certain time frame, because if this is a forever goal, then you give yourself forever time to make that goal. And I don't know about you, but when you're not the goal seems so far away, you're not going to strive towards it until the time gets closer and closer. And that's when you're really not going to achieve your goal. So it kind of goes along with making smaller goals to your big goal. So whatever big goal it is that you have, you want to make sure you make these little goals and you make the time based. Like, I want to run a marathon by October 2019. That could be a goal, and you make small goals. Like the first month, maybe you train to run a 5K or maybe just a mile. And maybe by May, you make sure that you ran a half marathon. And then finally by October, you make sure you run a marathon. And that's an example of how to make little goals to reach your big goals. So I really hope that everybody makes some resolutions or something that they want to change about themselves, or just really reflect on this past year and what you have to be grateful for. And if you have any questions on how to help yourself reach your goals, please comment below. And if you want to let me know what your New Year's resolution is, you can comment below as well. One of my resolutions that I'm going to let everyone know that I've already said before is I'm going to try to stop being on the phone at night. And instead of being on the phone, I'm putting a book by my nightstand. So instead of staring at the phone, I'm just going to read when I go to bed. So that's going to help me sleep better. That's going to give me more knowledge than the phone's going to give me. And it's just going to be better for me. I'm just going to like it because I'm not going to be stressed out, because sometimes the phone can be stressful, especially if you use it for your job. Okay? Thanks, guys. I hope everybody has a happy new year. Love y'all. Bye.